Pain is the best teacher. Boom! A loud crash echoed through the forest. 10-year-old Toby had fallen from the tallest tree. He had climbed it without telling anyone, thinking he was the bravest boy in the village. But now, lying on the ground with a twisted ankle, he couldn't even stand. Tears filled his eyes, not just from the pain, but because he knew he had made a big mistake. Toby was always quick to jump into things. He thought rules were boring and didn't listen when adults warned him. "Why can't I climb the tallest tree?" he had shouted that morning. "Because it's too dangerous," his mother had said. "You might get hurt," his father had warned. But he didn't care. He wanted to prove he was strong. Now, the throbbing pain in his ankle told him they had been right. As he lay under the tree, he remembered every time he had laughed when others were careful. He used to call them scared. Now, he wished he had been more like them. Suddenly, he heard footsteps. Someone was coming. But it wasn't his mother. It wasn't his father. It was a tall old man with a long white beard and a crooked wooden stick. His eyes looked like they had seen 1,000 stories. Well, the old man said, bending down. "Looks like the tree taught you a lesson, didn't it?" Toby blinked. Who are you?" "Some call me Grandpa Wuru," the man said, smiling gently. "I live deeper in the forest. I heard the crash." Toby tried to sit up but winced in pain. "I fell from up there." "I know," Grandpa Wuru nodded. "And now you've met the best teacher of all, pain." Toby frowned. "Pain is not a teacher. It just hurts." "Ah," said Grandpa Wuru, tapping his stick. "It does hurt, but pain teaches what pride forgets. You climbed without thinking. Now you've learned to think before acting, haven't you?" Toby looked down. Yes. Grandpa Wuru took out a small bottle from his pouch and poured some oil on Toby's ankle. It felt cool and soft. "Let me tell you a secret," the old man whispered. "Every hero has met pain. Every wise person has fallen once. What makes them great is what they do after." Toby's eyes grew wide. "Really?" Grandpa Wuru nodded. "Oh yes, and your adventure is just beginning." Just then, a strange growl came from behind the bushes. The leaves rustled. Toby froze. "What was that?" he whispered. Grandpa Wuru stood, his eyes sharp now. "Stay still, boy. Something is watching us." And before they could move, a shadow stepped out from the trees. It was a huge black wolf, its eyes glowing like fire, its fur as dark as midnight. Toby gasped and grabbed Grandpa Wuru's cloak. "Don't move," whispered the old man. But the wolf didn't growl, it didn't attack. Instead, it spoke. "You again, Wuru," said the wolf in a deep, rumbling voice. "Why do you always meddle with fate?" Toby's mouth dropped open. "The wolf talks?" "Yes," Grandpa Wuru said calmly. "And he's not just a wolf, he is the guardian of the forest." The wolf stepped closer. "This boy is foolish. He climbed the tree of warning. He disturbed the balance." Toby's heart thumped. "I didn't mean to. I just wanted to be brave." The guardian narrowed his eyes. "Bravery without wisdom brings trouble. Now the forest must test you." Grandpa Wuru held up his stick. "Give the boy a chance. Let him learn." The wolf sniffed the air, then slowly nodded. "Very well. The trial begins." Suddenly, the ground beneath Toby cracked. A ring of glowing vines shot up around him, twisting into a spiral. The trees shook, the sky darkened, and in a flash of green light, Toby vanished. He landed in a strange place. Where the sky was purple, rivers flowed backward, and animals walked on two legs like people. "Where am I?" he whispered. A voice behind him said, "Welcome, Toby. This is the Forest of Lessons." Toby turned and saw a giant owl wearing glasses, holding a scroll with his name on it. "You must pass 3 trials," the owl said. "Only then will you return home, wiser than before." Toby's eyes grew wide again. 3 trials? The owl nodded. "The first one begins now." Toby's legs shook as he stared at the giant owl. What's the first trial?" he asked. The owl unrolled the scroll. "Trial 1, the River of Regret." Before Toby could ask more, the ground opened under him. Swoosh! He fell straight down and landed with a splash in a strange river. But this river wasn't just water. It glowed with silver light and whispered, softly. "Why didn't you listen? You always rush. You could have gotten hurt." The voices were his own thoughts. Every mistake he had ever made echoed around him. "No, stop!" Toby shouted, covering his ears. But the river spoke louder. "Remember when you laughed at your friend for being careful? Or when you yelled at your sister for warning you?" Toby's heart sank. He didn't know regret could feel this heavy. The water around him grew colder. Then, out of the river rose a mirror. In it, He saw himself, not the brave boy he thought he was, but a boy with fear in his eyes, wet clothes, and a bruised ankle. The owl's voice boomed from the sky. Face yourself. Speak the truth. Toby took a deep breath. I was wrong, he said. I thought being brave meant doing whatever I wanted, but real courage is listening too. Suddenly, the river turned warm. The whispers stopped. The mirror shattered into light, and the river lifted Toby gently onto dry land. He had passed the first trial, but there was no time to rest. From the trees came a loud clang. Metal doors rose from the ground, opening slowly. Out stepped a small girl wearing golden armor. She had glowing green eyes, a wooden sword, and a familiar voice. Toby, she said, I am your second trial. Toby blinked. Wait, you look like my little sister? She raised her sword and smiled. Then you already know how strong I am. Let's see if you've learned how to fight with your heart. Toby stood tall, unsure what would happen next. Toby stood frozen as the girl in golden armor raised her wooden sword. I don't want to fight you, he said. She took a step forward. This isn't a fight, it's a test. Toby looked at her, really looked. Though she was smaller than him, her eyes were strong, full of care. Just like his little sister back home, who always warned him when he was being reckless. I was mean to her, he whispered. I thought she was annoying, but she was trying to protect me. The girl lowered her sword. That's the lesson, she said gently. You passed the second trial, not by fighting, but by understanding. The ground glowed beneath them. Light wrapped around Toby and lifted him into the air. When it faded, he stood in a quiet field. Flowers bloomed in colors he'd never seen. A silver deer with glowing antlers stood waiting. This is the last trial, came the owl's voice. The trial of kindness. The deer stepped forward. Its leg was bleeding. Toby didn't wait. He ripped a piece of cloth from his shirt and gently wrapped the deer's wound. The deer lowered its head in thanks. You helped without being asked, said the owl. You gave without expecting anything back. This is true strength. The world began to spin. Wind rushed past Toby's ears, and then he was back, lying under the same tall tree. His ankle was healed. Grandpa Wuro sat beside him, smiling. You've returned, he said. Wiser, stronger, ready. Toby sat up slowly. The tree looked the same, but he didn't feel the same at all. From that day on, Toby never rushed into danger again. He listened. He thought before acting. And he treated others with kindness, even his little sister. Moral of the story: pain can hurt, but it also teaches. The biggest lessons in life come from our mistakes. When we listen, learn, and grow, pain becomes the greatest teacher of all.